Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to start a new series of video called Innovation Design. Why? Well, innovation is extremely important. It's possibly the most important asset in order for us as a society to progress and move forward, and in order for companies to simply stay relevant. So innovation is fundamental. Steve Jobs said innovation is what distinguishes leaders from followers. And I say, and I just quoted, innovation is really about staying relevant. So if you fail to innovate, you basically cease to exist. So innovation is extremely important, and companies definitely know that. But define what innovation really is and how innovation sits within the company's culture and day-by-day activity might not be so immediate. So if you want to take out two indicators, you can use research and development expenditures globally and the expenditures on strategic consulting services. So the first one accounts for more than 700 billion in 2017 with a compound annual growth rate of more than 3%. And the expected expenditure in strategic consulting services globally is more than $158 billion. So if you put them together along with, innovation agencies and strategic workshops and blah, 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 that's almost $1 trillion market every year. And that's an enormous number. Yet, despite that, companies keep on struggling with innovation. And you can call out the Toys R Us and the Nokia and the Motorola and blah, 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 all these companies that have been dominating in the market and then fail spectacularly despite the huge amount of investment. So why is that? Well, one reason might be that companies spend on the wrong kind of innovation. That's a dichotomy between innovation ability and innovation capacity. The innovation capacity is the organizational potential towards innovation. It's the stuff that's easy to buy. And this is the dimension on which companies tend to spend a little too much on. Is research and development, is staff, is consulting services, is pumping up the capacity, the potential for innovation of organization externally without bringing in or structuring the innovation ability internally. What's innovation ability? That's trickier. So it's the ability of create new value for a new customer with new services or with new business models. The truth is there's a different approach that's needed. And the reason is because the paradigm that we were used to consider might have changed lately due to a number of factors. Globalization, digital revolution, blurring boundaries between companies. A company know that. A very good indicator of that is that well above 50% of executives know that the main competitors 5 years from now that they will face is going to be someone different. It's not even under the radar right now. Think about different industries. Think about insurance with Lemonade. Think about the taxi industry with Uber. Think about retail with Amazon. Bottom line, we shifted the paradigm of competition from a sustained advantage to transient advantage. The typical lifespan of a company that's created is you launch it, you ramp it up, and you exploit it. In the first two phases, you build a competitive advantage that stays and that gets exploited over time. But this is no longer valuable. All the things that we said before, heavy use of technology, heavy use of digital transformation, globalization, they reduce the lifespan of competitive advantage. So the exploitation time, it is way shorter than what it was before. And that calls for a reshape of the paradigm. So after exploitation, it comes of a level of reconfiguration and possibly some time of disengaging. And this has to be approached with a continuously engaged cycle. So this launch, ramp up, exploitation needs to be sustained with another launch, another ramp up, another reconfiguration, possibly disengagement. And this needs to be done continuously and with a higher volume. That might be a trickier passage, but if you think about it, it's only a mindset change. We need to quit thinking that our competitive advantage will last forever, and we need to start to imagine that we need to constantly reboot our competitive advantages with building different competitive advantages. And this is achievable only if we increase the innovation ability of the company. There are two types of innovation attitude and innovation strategies. The one is play not to lose, and the one that is playing to win. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other, it's just they have two different applications. The playing not to lose is typically played on the exploitation phase. So it's built within the core. It's focused on near-term performance, on stability. It's most of the time defensive, and it's about limiting failure. At the same time, we need to have a plain-to-lean approach, which is built beyond the core, which is focused on future performances, which has growth at stake, that requires an offensive stance, if you want, and that is focused on maximizing breakthrough. So the key factor is that these two approaches need to play together, and they need to ignite innovation ability that all together will play to keep the company relevant. This series will be especially centered on what we call the play-to-win approach, the venture design, the one that is based on launching and creating new competitive advantage. And definitely that's a quest that seems to be tough, very philosophical, but it's not. There are more than 30 years of literature and statistic on it, and we are luckily in a moment in time in which technology could really help to boost and maximize the innovation ability of every company. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know more about innovation, about design thinking, about digital strategy and digital transformation, and new technologies such as blockchain. I'll see you in the next videos, and until then, ciao everyone, and rock on.